See, what you call as compulsive is, generally, people only recognize compulsive physical behavior. Somebody is addicted to drink, somebody is addicted to something else, somebody compulsively is abusive or something else negative that they cannot avoid doing is considered compulsive. But we must look a little deeper. The very way we sit and stand, largely it's compulsive. Maybe if you are practicing Hatha Yoga, slowly how you sit, how you stand is becoming a conscious process. Otherwise, it's largely compulsive. If we see your shadow, how you sit down, we almost know who it is, because you sit in a particular way, you stand up in a particular way. Have you noticed this? Every body has its own compulsive patterns. Compulsiveness is coming from ingrained memory. You can call it genetic, you can call it karmic, you can call it by many other names, but essentially, memory has taken over your life. What spiritual process means is to create an awareness, to become conscious in such a way that we override the memory, not just in small levels of compulsiveness of behavior or food or whatever else, but in the very compulsiveness of life, which has to go through cyclical process of life and death. To beat the ultimate compulsion is the longing to be born and the inevitable process of life and death. So when we use the word mukti, so essentially compulsiveness means something is going cyclical. You are not able to beat the cyclical movement that's happening within you, either psychologically, emotionally, energy-wise or physically in your behavior patterns. Maybe you are noticing only the behavioral patterns, the compulsive nature of your behavior. You are not noticing the compulsive nature of your thought unless it becomes very acute, compulsive nature of your emotion, compulsive nature of the way the energy patterns move, and above all, the compulsive nature of your very existence. Every aspect of life is influenced by memory. To what extent it dominates will decide how compulsive you are. It is like… I think I said this some time ago, Swami creeps upon me every day, but not compulsively. When on the headphones they hear my voice is little going like that, he's coming with a warm drink, which sometimes I drink and sometimes I don't. But you can make this a compulsive pattern. That is, every day at 12 o'clock, at 2 o'clock, warm drink. You need it, you don't need it. This is called developing good habits. There are no good habits. All habits are bad because habit means you're trying to operate in a compulsive pattern. When you feel thirsty, you drink water. No, not like that. Doctor tells you every day 3 liters of water, half the time you are in the pee place. No, doctor should not tell you when to drink water. You must be conscious when you need water. Something so simple. But no, it's all set. When it's all set, it looks like you're functioning efficiently. Yes, you are. Efficiency without a heart is no good, it's cruel. You will become equally cruel to yourself and everybody around you because you have your stupid sense of discipline. Now, but Sadhguru, if I don't wake up my children at 6 o'clock, they will wake up at noontime. It is true. It is true. You have to wake them up at 6 o'clock, otherwise they may become sloth. So this is a fine game. Life is a fine game. If you want to do it in a crude way, you can do it. But if you want to do it well, it's a fine game. The same thing can be done in many different ways. So, Sadhguru, how do I wake up my children, Sadhguru? In a conscious way, at 6 o'clock in the morning, because they have to go to school at 7. Well, there are many situations in the world which not entirely our making, but we have to sync with it. Otherwise, we will become disaligned with everything. To fulfill certain situations, we create certain patterns, but the pattern can be conscious pattern. It may be a rigid pattern, but a conscious pattern for a period of time to fulfill certain situations. But it need not become a part of our system. If you go with the rhythms of nature, naturally some things will happen in certain ways. Isn't that also compulsive? That every year in the month of June, monsoon should come. Is that not compulsive? It is. That is the nature that is the physical nature of the existence. It is by patterns, set patterns. Unfortunately, even the monsoons are becoming a bit conscious and not coming. That's an unfortunate break of pattern. But physical nature is made of patterns. Whether individual atom or a cell or a molecule or the entire system, this is the way physical is made. This is the difference or distinction a human being knowingly or unknowingly trying to establish that I am something beyond the physical. No spiritual teaching might have gone into an individual person, but still even that person is trying to somehow prove to himself or herself that I am something more than physical. If somebody treats you just as a physical entity, you don't like it, isn't it? Hello? Physicality falls into set patterns. A dimension beyond physical doesn't fall into any set patterns, that is where it is from that dimension the very idea of consciousness has risen in human mind. Human beings right now, in the evolutionary scale of things, are like, let's say a bird which was left in a cage for a long time. Then, after many years, the cage door is left open, but the bird never makes an attempt to fly because it's gotten used to the cage. It's gotten identified with the cage and it doesn't fly. This is human nature right now. In the evolutionary scale of things, what was a crawling creature now has become like this. Now, the lid is blown away, but still we don't crawl out, simply because of habit. The genetic influence causing compulsive behavior. This happened. A 3-year-old boy told his friend, "When I grow up, I will marry the girl next door." So the friend asked, "Why?" So the boy said, because I'm not allowed to cross the street. So, compulsiveness, don't try to counter it, don't try to forcefully beat it. You just have to become conscious. This is like the light and darkness business. You don't fight with the darkness, that will be foolish. Compulsiveness is an expression of lack of consciousness. You don't have to fight it. If you become more conscious, compulsive patterns will just disappear. It is like if you turn on the lights, darkness is gone. You don't have to fight with it. If you fight with darkness, you are on an endless fight. If you do not learn to consciously change the rhythm of body, mind, emotion, chemistry and energy, you will become like a broken record, simply repeating the same things over and over again. The easiest way or the simplest way to break the rhythms which are compulsive within you is to start doing things that you don't like. You would like to start the morning with a chocolate, but here you start with a neem ball. Just what you don't like. If you want to break your emotional rhythms, the simplest thing is to look for somebody that you cannot stand and to work with them. Choose them as your partner to work with, somebody you just can't stand. These are simplest tools, may be drastic, but if you don't want to waste time in your life, that's the way to go. To just get up in the morning and do what you don't like. And after some time, you will see your likes and dislikes are essentially your making. They are not some God-given laws as to what you should like and what you should dislike. It's got nothing to do with the object of your like or the object of your dislike. It is just your compulsiveness which draws you to certain things and repels you from certain other things.
Now, we think that you have got clear insights on compulsiveness from Sadhguru. We all have some or the other compulsiveness within us, and Sadhguru has pointed out some of them in this video. We have never looked at our compulsions as limitations. Overcoming these limitations truly makes us free from bondage. As a human being, we need to work on letting these compulsions go. If we don't work on ourselves, we will just go into repetition of our past. And as a person on spiritual path, or for a yogi, repetitive cycles means that their progress is stagnant. Or in short, we can say that they are not progressing on their spiritual path. Once on spiritual path, we should be able to consciously choose and change ourselves rather than getting stuck in repetitive karmic cycles as they are known. Many yogic practices are designed around breaking such repetitive cycles. If you look carefully at your life, you will be able to identify your compulsions. Once you have identified them, it's time to work on them. But the most important thing is that you must not become unhappy or stressed about it. Because if you become stressed, then the problem multiplies. Main thing is to do your daily sadhana and practices or meditation and stay pleasant. Because once we are joyful, we are ready to mold or change ourselves the way we intend to. But if we are unhappy, our personality becomes rigid and then it is impossible for us to do things we don't like. In a way, compulsions are linked to your karma. In yogic terms, it is said that karma is like vegetables. For instance, we can compare karma to a bag of potatoes. Now, you will be thinking that what's the connection between karma and potatoes? The analogy is that karma is like potatoes because When we bury our compulsions within us, it tends to grow more. Just like the way potato grows in a fertile soil when buried. Whenever we go through tough situations like anger, pain, or fear, we must not cling on to it. If we become furious over the situation and keep it in our minds forever, then it will cling on to us forever. This will very much become the part of who we are, and then we will carry such experience wherever we go. In fact, we will keep on talking about it to people and it keeps on rotating in our minds from time to time. Now such experiences we can say that gets buried into us and then it multiplies over time like potatoes we mentioned earlier. The more we cling on to it, potatoes keep on multiplying. Now this is where our sadhana comes in. Yoga or sadhana is aimed at pulling out those compulsive potatoes within us and to dry them in a manner in which they cannot sprout again. The aim is not to get rid of such potatoes. Instead, tackle it or dry them in such a way that there is no scope for it to sprout again. But at the same time, the experience of life situations cannot be forgotten. It is important that we gain some wisdom from such situations so that we don't fall into the trap of doing it again and again. Now, we will talk about some tips wherein you can take away your compulsiveness consciously. Before eating, wait for 2 to 3 minutes. Eating food is a daily requirement for the body. When you are about to eat your food, just wait for 2 to 3 minutes, especially when you are hungry. Just waiting for 2 minutes will seem like a challenge to you because you are hungry. Since you are very much identified with your body, waiting for over 2 minutes isn't easy at first, and this is what compulsiveness does to you. Tendency to gulp down your food as soon as possible is there since you are very much identified with your body. Waiting for few minutes before eating will eventually reduce your compulsiveness. In Isha Foundation, before eating, all the people sit with their closed eyes for invocation. We suggest you to try this before eating your food. Practice silence. Talking is one such compulsive thing that most of us do, especially when we are with our friends or relatives. We tend to talk or initiate a conversation. It is difficult for us to stay silent in such conversation or even when we are having an argument. Since it is impossible for us to stay silent when we think that we are smarter than the other person. It is a best practice to stay silent for certain time, keep our mind calm and reduce the compulsive urge to talk. If total silence is not possible, we can try by reducing 50% of our words to convey the same message. Hatha Yoga. The meaning of the word Hatha means adamant. The idea is to get up early in the morning and do Hatha Yoga even if you don't like to. You don't fall prey to the compulsions of your mind, body, and emotions. With continuous practice, you will recognize that your levels of compulsions will come down and eventually you will be more enthusiastic to do your yoga and sadhana in the morning. These were the tips which we wanted to give to you throughout this video.
So, now I think you are very clear about compulsions and how they rule your life. I hope the tips provided in this video will help you progress on your spiritual path. Spiritual processes are aimed at bringing about awareness about your body as well as mind. There are needs to our physical body, but with the help of spiritual processes, we can overcome these compulsions. With each step, we are trying to break the compulsive patterns of karma. When we rise to a point where there is no compulsiveness in our body and we sit down without any instructions, then we enter the phase of meditativeness. So, next time when you are stressed out, angry, or anxious, remember compulsiveness and the bag of potatoes. Thank you for your valuable time. Namaskaram.